motorcycle accidents, obviously, no joke, and people die every year from being on motorcycles. Have you lost any friends?
I did. I lost probably the best friend, the nicest person you'll ever meet.
Welcome back to a special edition of Wheels and Wealth. If this is your first time here, hang in for a couple of minutes, but I'm sure you'll love it. Make sure you go on and hit the subscribe button, click it immediately, share it with your friends. And if you are a seasoned viewer at this point and you're a supporter and you've not yet subscribed, be sure to subscribe. But today joining us, we have Rickie Will of Team Money Cycles, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you here with us today. Welcome to Wheels and Wealth. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on the show. How are you?
I'm incredible, man. How are you?
Doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm doing fantastic, actually.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. So tell us about the idea and the concept behind Team Money Cycle. What is it?
Man, Team Money Cycles. Well, I'm a motorcycle enthusiast.
Okay.
I'm a motorcycle lover.
All right.
And this is something that, as far back as I can remember,
I always wanted to be in the firm.
Just seeing my dad, yeah, I like that. Growing up, seeing my dad ride just like inspired me from, day one. So as I got older, I got into racing motorcycles with drag racing.
Wow.
And then going into the custom Harleys. But man, just even as a kid, everything, my bicycle in my head was a motorcycle.
Right.
My big wheel in my head was a motorcycle. So, it was destined that, motorcycles became, a part of what I love and what I do.
Okay, so Team Money Cycles is a motorcycle club.
Team Motorcycle is not. It's actually a brand.
All right.
Team Money Cycles has turned into a lifestyle. So if you look at the words motorcycle, basically, when you go into a dealership, you buy a motorcycle.
Okay.
Once you get we'll say $1,000 or $2 in, it's no longer a motorcycle. For me, it became a money cycle, because I said, dang, every time I turn around, I'm dumping money into this cycle. So It was a joke.
I get it.
And then the word team, when you got a group of people working together as something, with the same common goal, and the common goal for this lifestyle is to just have fun with something that you spend, your hard-earned money on, and create a lifestyle. So it's Team Money Cycles.
Okay,
and
awesome.
With that, since 2015, we've just been able to brand. We started off hosting a custom motorcycle show.
Okay.
I'll tell everyone a story. I believe it was 2015, the summer. We did the show. We made signs that we got the cardboard from the dollar store, me and my family and friends, and it rained on us. I got a DJ I got hooked up with for free, who in the middle of the show turned the microphone off because he had a paying gig.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was just, listen, it was fantastic. The storm came, it blew the tents away.
It was a wonderful disaster, okay.
But our goal was to raise money for cancer awareness. A young lady locally from Philadelphia who was bad on, and we were able to raise some funds to assist her. We brought out the slingshots, the three-wheel machines, and we did baggers versus slingshots that day. We did our version of what we thought was the best audio competition in the world. And when we look back at the pictures, it was humble beginnings, but it has grown into a brand, a successful brand that travels all around the country. We've been as far west as Los Angeles, California this year.
Wow.
In 2023, to going up and down the East Coast to touching the Midwest. So I'm proud to be a part of what has been started. We set the trend, past and present, for what motorcycle audio competitions on a high level should be.
Okay.
In terms of rules, classification, we've partnered with many of the manufacturers in this industry, just pushing the top brands, helping with development. So within the Team Money Cycle brand, we were able to step into a lot of rooms and even bridging the gap between customers, consumers, as well as manufacturers. So, yeah, we've done a lot I'm proud of in a short period of time of coming up on 8 or 9 years.
Incredible. So when it originally started, it was just you and your wife,
So-
you and a group of folks, or how did that work?
So I always make the joke that I'm the volunteer consultant,
Okay.
with my wife being behind the scenes of helping me, with running the company and whatnot, and then just starting up, just friends, pitching in, wearing many different hats, coming in as the unpaid employees, just sowing seeds of their time and sweat equity to help us get it off the ground. We're just traveling, things of, listen, you'll be surprised, helping pit a tent up, driving a truck, things of that nature. And in turn, Louisa and I being the foundation and the backbone, we just been able to keep it going and just creating, just different programs within, as far as the apparel and hosting the shows, the marketing, to actually turn it into a business and not just a hobby.
Awesome. And how many, so humble beginnings, you had tents blowing all over the
Yeah.
place. So how many people would you say attended that event?
Ah, man. Our first event, I would say maybe 200 people.
Okay, and wow, that's
150,
that's not
200?
a bad showing.
No.
And for a large-scale event, now that you are 8 or 9 years in, and you have a following,
Yes.
what does a large-scale event look like?
1,000 plus, easy.
Insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you have captains nationally, or like people that contribute from all over the country in terms of wearing a specific role on a daily, monthly basis that are a part of the back end of the business as well? Since you're now more organized?
we're really self-contained.
Okay.
As far as just the daily operations of the company, very much hands-on. But what we do is we partner with other promoters that may be having, say, a drag racing event, and they're looking for some type of entertainment to add to their already event. They'll call us in and hire us to come in to facilitate, different types of things, such as custom bike shows, the audio competitions. So that's pretty much where we are in terms of what a normal day of Team Money Cycles out in the field is like.
Okay.
We also have something that we're doing a big launch for, a relaunch of our Team Money Cycle Sound University, where we're going to teach things such as how to compete 101. You'll be surprised, people are spending $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $15,000 on just their motorcycle audio.
Okay.
But really don't have the concept of maybe how to compete, how to do it effectively to win. So we're going to introduce things like that, teaching people who want to judge these competitions the language and what goes into actually being a certified judge to go out and be officiate at, high-level motorcycle audio competitions.
So I got to tell you, everything. This is highly, highly intriguing to me because I know nothing about this world.
Sure.
Right. With Wheels and Wealth, when our guests come on, they normally have a car that, I know something about. I know if I don't know as much as I'd like to, I can go research it before they come on set. I'm a car enthusiast through and through.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't not a motorcycle enthusiast. I love Ducatis, for instance. Like I just love Ducatis. I just recently started getting into watching some of MotoGP.
Okay.
Which I think is insane. Like that's crazy. Those guys who compete at that level, riding those bikes.
That's a lot of talent on the racetrack.
It's nuts. I would have never guessed until today that I would. And we've spoken off camera, so you've probably seen me or heard me say a million times that I'm in love with this particular bike and this particular, looking at it. You mentioned earlier that it's like looking at abstract art. It's absolutely just incredible. So anyway, beyond all of that, with the audio competitions that Team Money Cycles host, are you guys the premier host of audio competitions in the country right now? Have you positioned yourself that way, or in the world of motorcycles and competition at, you know, these big events at Daytona Beach, are there other sound competition things going on?
So yeah,
Educate me about that. How big is that world?
We are, there are other sound competition platforms who, as we are doing a phenomenal job at spreading the motorcycle audio culture. I do like to think as Team Money Cycle being a premier of the motorcycle audio competition world.
Okay.
But like I said, my counterparts that are in the business are doing a phenomenal job as well, servicing the community.
When you got started, were you approaching sponsors? You know, I think that anybody who comes on our show, the wealth portion of the title, Wheels and Wealth,
Absolutely.
is not about money. Contrary to what a lot of people believe, it really is about sharing your knowledge and experience that you've gained throughout your trials and triumphs in your career in building your brand and building your business. When it comes to getting sponsors, you just said you were able to turn your hobby into an actual business.
Sure.
And part of that is succeeding at aligning yourselves with the right brands.
Sure.
And getting collective sponsorship partners. Is that something you had to actively pursue on your own, or as you started hosting these competitions and becoming more successful, learning how to nail down your tents properly so they weren't blown away
Absolutely.
in the wind, were sponsors approaching you early on because the concept, to me at least, is unique? Or were you guys actively pursuing sponsorship on your own?
So when we first got into the sound competition world, keep in mind, we weren't the first individuals to come up with this.
Okay.
We actually used to attend competitions when we went away to like Myrtle Beach Bike Week and all. What I did was, after attending those events, I took something that I thought was good and came back and just literally got a piece of paper, got a notebook, and said, okay, if I did this, how would I take this but put my own spin on it? And then how would I take this and try to make it more like a corporate level, like a professional sport?
Okay.
So that's how I went into it. And there was no playbook or a handbook to do what I wanted to do, because for this world, no one had done it on a level where I wanted to take it.
Right.
So it was kind of hard to approach companies to become sponsors because what did we really have to offer? In terms of sponsorships, getting started, and just my philosophy on the word sponsorship, always, and this may sound a little crazy,
Okay.
but we sponsor like little league teams, right?
Okay.
I was looking for partnerships, for brand partners, companies that I believed in their product, and I also want you to be able to believe in my product on what Team Money Cycles has to bring to the table. I just think people respect you more and value you more when you bring something that has value to the table. So I met two companies. I was introduced to two different companies back then. My speaker company was Bama, an already well-established pro audio speaker company, and the other company was Sound Digital, an amplifier company out of Brazil, who at the time were doing things in the car audio world, but didn't have a large footprint in the motorcycle audio world. Because let's just think, at that time, it was still something new, where a lot of parts that were being used in motorcycle audio were from the car world, and we were taking larger amplifiers from other companies and trying to make it work into what we had. And don't get me wrong, there were other companies that were offering motorcycle audio, but not to where we were trying to take it.
Okay.
So I approached these companies, and not to talk numbers, but with a introductory price of.
I mean, yeah, feel free to talk numbers.
No, I won't.
No problem.
Just for the disclosure reasons.
Okay, gotcha.
But we talked some numbers.
Okay.
And just pretty straightforward. Hey, listen. And I got this term from Mr. Epic Center himself.
Okay.
Let's dance before we get married,
Right,
so to
right.
speak. And I never forgot that when
Yeah.
me and Julius Walker talked. So with
He's been abusing me with that.
That's his line right
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
So with that, we just started building from there. Companies like Voodoo Bike Works make custom parts. Excuse me. SMT Wheels was a partner of ours. Metal Sport Wheels, Dirty Bird Concepts, Speed by Design, Limitless Lithium, as well as a host of other shops who came into what we now call our advertising network that has several different tiers of partnership levels. So again, the humble beginnings of having companies, just go to the crap table with you and bet with you, and we've been just trying to win since day one, bringing something of value back.
I love that. Now, I want you to kind of double back to something you said earlier.
Sure.
You said you started out drag racing?
Yes.
Did I hear that? Or and drag racing, what, sport bikes?
Sport bikes, yeah. Kawasaki Ninjas, and then I had Suzuki Hayabusas.
What was your first bike?
My first bike was a...
Well, you grew up in motorcycle culture from your dad, so how
Yeah.
old were you when you got a bike of your own?
I purchased my first motorcycle, I want to say I was somewhere around 22, 23.
That's crazy. My father would not let us even look
Really?
at a motorcycle. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted one.
My dad would just always tell me, never think that you've mastered a motorcycle and always respect it, because if you don't, it'll throw you off it'll throw you like a grown man. And I learned that the hard way several times that, you're in control and to a certain extent, but if you push that motorcycle to certain levels, like you spoke of MotoGP earlier, those guys are way super talented, but at least one race, somebody finds themselves pushing it to the limit and sliding and flipping across that racetrack.
Wow. You could let me know what the saying is. I think I'm probably going to be choppy with it, but it's like there are two types of riders: the ones who have been down and the ones who are going down,
Correct.
or something like that. How many times have you taken a spill?
Let me think. 4 that I can recall.
I mean, that's not bad. Motorcycle accidents, obviously, no joke, and people die every year from being on motorcycles. Have you lost any friends?
I did. I lost probably the best friend, the nicest person you'll ever meet in life, a buddy. We called him Dom. His nickname was Dom, but his name was Dominic Y. And I lost him while we were out riding one night after work. And that, along with having accidents of my own, you slowly lose nerve and the fearlessness from riding, like things like that, and then hearing other riders go down and lose their life. Each time it takes a piece from you, I think. You know what I mean, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Now, keep in mind that, a lot of the questions for me are coming from a true place of ignorance, because I really don't know much about the lifestyle, even the technical aspects of the bikes. A lot of times when you hear of fatalities on motorcycles, are you seeing a trend with the kinds of motorcycle? Like, is it more sport bike oriented, or is it just all across the board? So I look at something like this and I'm like, all right, what are you doing to get into a death kind of a situation, or a disabled, or, out of commission for any period of time while riding something like this? It just looks like something that you are, I mean, obviously all bikes are fast, but it just looks like something that you're riding a little more calmly than, being hunched over like a sport bike. So are you seeing like a trend, I guess, with the fatalities or the serious injuries you hear about, that they're more sport bike oriented or otherwise, or not so much?
Well, statistically, I can't speak on it, but just on personal knowledge, just think about this. So as a child, you rode a bicycle, right?
Yep.
So riding a bike down that steep hill in your neighborhood and you fall, think of, most of us got that mark on our shoulders from falling, or your knees. Think about how much damage you did to your body by falling off a bicycle.
Yeah.
All right, now attach horsepower, gasoline, combustion, speed. This, as beautiful as this motorcycle is, it can carry you to at least 100 miles an hour with no problem.
Right.
100. Now, sport bikes, guys are going 150, 160, 170. But 100 miles an hour.
You're right.
Well,
100 in a car is.
As a child, how fast are you going on a bike? 5 to 10 mile an hour?
Yeah.
So add 50 mile an hour to this, and imagine if you take this moving object and you hit a non-moving object with this at 50, 60, 30, 40 miles an hour.
Right.
Where are you going? So it doesn't matter if you're on a sport bike. Yeah, sport bike, you might be more inclined to be zipping out of traffic and acting crazy, but guys can act crazy on a Harley, on a dirt bike, it doesn't matter. You have to, the point I'm making, you have to respect any kind of machine like that, like this. And then you got a lot of people that are texting now. As a guy on a motorcycle, we want the loud pipes because people are driving, they're texting. You'll be driving, and I'm watching people in cars. Like, I want to look through your back window, and I want to know if you got a phone in your hand before I get ready to pass you, because you may just inadvertently just come over on me.
Right.
So it's just a lot that go along with this. So the loud music is great on these bikes because people will hear you coming. The loud exhaust is great, so people can
hear your system coming 10 miles away.
Absolutely, and I'm gonna play it so they can hear me.
What made you make the transition from sport bikes to this world of baggers? Because when I think about bikers generally, I don't see a whole lot of black people riding Harley Davidsons, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there'll be hopefully there's somebody in the comments, subscribe, that corrects me on that. But at least over time, it's not. You don't see a lot. It doesn't look as largely a part of black culture, at least from what I've seen from the outside looking in. Most people, young or older, they're on sport bikes. They're on Hayabusas, they're on Gixxers, they're on the Yamahas. You're not seeing a ton of folks that are on choppers, baggers, Harleys, generally speaking, or anything that's in that same ilk.
Like a lot of things, I just don't think it's sensationalized as much, or it wasn't.
Okay.
When you do a Harley Davidson, you always thought, middle-aged Caucasian male. For one, they were expensive. So the average 20-year-old, 25-year-old, they don't look like this.
No.
So it looks more like a touring motorcycle.
They look like something I would have,
like a grandpa bike.
I'm going to take that back. Well, I'm sorry. Yes, the average Harley Davidson over time. I don't know what the ones, the fat tires in the back. I like those
the V-rods?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those.
But again, think about it from an economic standpoint.
Yeah.
Back then, years ago, and even if this is just me doing research, from a lot of the clubs, the motorcycle clubs, on what they call the set, the clubs that you see with the vest and all.
Yeah.
Just doing a little research, and I just want to just skim the surface on it. African Americans at the time, majority, I don't believe, could afford the Harley Davidson. It wasn't marketed towards us.
Gotcha.
So we would just get the different bikes and get pieces of them and parts of them, or find them, or come across of them, however you obtained the Harley, and had to make it your own. And you had, back in those days, you had a Harley Davidson dealerships owned by African-American man. You had Miss Bessie, an African-American female who was known for riding her Harley cross-country.
Okay.
But it just wasn't on the forefront like that. You had to go get the information. So then you look at places like Cali, where I had the opportunity of going out there this year with On Ground Clothing. Shout out to that brand. And it's a totally different vibe with the customization and how they do things. Then you go and that's on the African-American side of things. Harley had launched something called, I can't think of it right now, but they did something with, I believe, F. Gary Gray,
Okay.
where it was the producer, where they geared a campaign to African Americans. So we were able to get a footprint in what was known as American culture that didn't show it in the light of us, people of color.
Okay.
So it has been done. One thing I like about, just to bring it back to Team Money Cycles, we've created a brand of diversity where you have young, old, black, white, Hispanic, Asian,
I love that.
coming together from different age groups. But the catalyst is music. We all ride. We all got a love for twos. But what do we all love too?
We all got a love for twos, two wheels.
Two wheels,
Got
yeah.
you.
But we all love music. There's a song for many different moments in your life and the producers behind the camera's life. When you hear it, well, oh man, my mom used to sing me that, or that was my wedding song, or my son or daughter, when I first laid eyes on them, that song, it's always a song. So with these motorcycle competitions, it allows us to bring our twos there, and then we just talk music and we play music. And although we're competing, it brings different walks of life from a social economic standpoint, from a race standpoint, from an age standpoint.
Wow.
So we were able to do something, and I say we, Team Money Cycles, was able to be a part of that and bring all these different groups together.
Incredible.
You got, listen, what's crazier than seeing a dude, say from an urban area like, say, Chicago or Philly, playing Tennessee Whiskey by, what's his name, Chris Stapleton?
First of all, that song is fire.
Right.
Period. Yeah.
But I wasn't turned on to Tennessee Whiskey and Chris Stapleton until I came to a Team Money Cycle event and heard some people from down south playing it. But then you got a dude from the Midwest, Caucasian, middle-aged dude, that looked like, he gonna play some country, and he dropped Jeezy all there on you.
That's crazy.
And you like, damn, did he just play Jeezy? That wouldn't happen if we didn't have, competitions and events like this bringing it together.
I love that. I love that. So let me ask you this, man. This is you've opened my eyes at least to a brand new world of vehicle enthusiasm. I think we spoke about this earlier where I said I'm starting to become an everything enthusiast. Right?
Absolutely.
Because I love cars. Anybody who knows me, exotics, luxury, classic, modern. But I have to make an intentional effort not to continue looking back here, because as I look at this thing, it is just so beautiful. What build is this for you? What number is this?
This is build number 3.
Okay.
This particular brand build, is actually my wife Luisa's build. The design concept is her. She said no flames, no tribal, no hard lines, anything that you would traditionally see in a motorcycle paint job, she did not want. She wanted something abstract, something different. As you can see, she pulled it off. And we worked with our painter, Donnie Keller Designs, out of Sumter, South Carolina on this. So we traveled about, I guess that's about a 14-hour drive to go down, meet with him, give him our vision, do computer renderings where he drew, and we kind of close down, not quite it, and he ended up nailing it and delivering exactly what she envisioned and wanted out of a custom paint job.
It is stunning. I joked earlier as I introduced you, and I said you brought the MoMA, the Museum of Modern American Art, or something like that,
Yes.
the MoMA Art Basel edition bike, and it just looks like an artist just went to work, with a paintbrush on this thing, and it is absolutely incredible. Even the styling of the wheel is everything is gorgeous. The exhaust pipes, the seat, everything is just beautiful. So this is number 3. I had the pleasure of speaking with your wife. She says that it's so beautiful that she doesn't even like to ride it because she doesn't want to scratch it.
She's never, she took the classes. She can ride, and we went out on it, and she's just like, she has so much respect for it. It's not a fear of falling type of thing.
Right.
She's just like, it's so beautiful that, listen, I like to ride, so I would like to sneak out and ride it, but I'm like, I want to keep the integrity of the paint. This is like one of those, like on Wheels and Wealth, like you get a lot of fine automobiles come through that aren't daily drivers.
Right.
And people say, oh, why would you build something like this and you can't ride it? You can ride it, but this is just like that Packer that you bring out on a Sunday, 1 or 2 Sundays out of the month and go to a car show. We could easily ride this every day.
I mean, I would if I could.
You would, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a showpiece.
Do people PPF these though?
What is that?